to the Daily Allegory through astrological divination. Today's story is a spin-off and could potentially have underlying truth to it of a corrupt system that's meant to observe the capacity of salvation in the young in the next generation. This is about corrupt officials taking advantage of their positions to commit theft for need-to-know agendas. This is directed towards any dirty CPS workers, lawyers, judges, counselors, therapists, doctors that might all contribute to a machine that is so far obsolete it needs immediate removal and attention. Behind the courthouse walls where verdicts echo like prayers, a lawyer and judge weave more than corruption. They perform ritual law. Their affair is a pact sealing the theft of children whose innocence feeds an invisible machine disguised as justice. The counseling center where they brainwash children is not merely a place of therapy, but an altar, where memories are rewritten, names are erased, and truth is buried in administrative ink. Mothers are seduced, traded, and broken, their bodies used as currency to open doors they never saw closing on their very own child or children. Yet something watches, an unseen eye carved into the architecture of fate itself. Survivors begin to dream of it, an ancient intelligence that records every lie, every vanished life, every courtroom decree. When the first missing child returns with impossible knowledge and the whispers of the dead in her voice, the predators discover too late that the system they have built has become a ritual circle, and the eye they thought blind has awakened for judgment. I used my own daughter's name in this with the story, just as a spin-off. This is Ava and the Children of Luzerne County, the Occult Ledger. The town thought the scandal had ended with Conrad Hale's arrest. They were wrong. The courthouse was only one wing of a larger organism. Deep beneath the Luzerne County CPS building, an old Victorian orphanage converted into offices, lay a sealed sub-basement. The blueprints omitted it. Only a handful of workers had keys. Case files didn't disappear into bureaucratic incompetence, as locals believed. They were fed to the archive. A towering brass furnace etched with symbols older than any religion the county claimed to uphold. The symbols matched those Judge Lowe had begun seeing in her dreams. Serpents biting their tails, scales weighing human hearts, and names that burned when she tried to read them. CPS workers had whispered for years about file prioritization. What they didn't know was that certain supervisors were members of a group called the Adjudicators, a secret order that fed justice's shadow side. They took bribes, favors, alliances, hush money, and most chillingly, loyalty oaths signed with blood thumbprints on sealed papers. Investigations ordered against influential families were seemingly lost. Reports of abuse fell into paperwork voids, investigations thrown in the garbage. Children were marked unsafe, not because they were at risk, but because they were valuable. Gifted and unique children specifically held high priority for recruitment and seizure. It wasn't incompetence, it was harvesting. The Harrow dynasty, we'll call it for litigation purposes, hadn't been destroyed, only decapitated with its notorious leader dead and island being raided. Its rituals continued, though, in various parts of the world, carried out through proxies who believed themselves untouchable. Then Ava, a child they attempted to take, began to dream again. She saw rooms with black glass mirrors, children chanting in languages not their own, and a ledger written in ink that was an ink. The one who taught her to read it was neither alive nor dead, a boy with hollow eyes who introduced himself as Julian, who had been missing since 1988. Julian whispered the truth. Every file thrown away is a sacrifice. Every child stolen is an offering. Every CPS worker who forgot did so under a vow. Luzerne County had hundreds of forgotten children, missing no explanation or answers. When the federal investigation stalled, something else began to intervene. Streetlights flickered. Phones recorded voices where no one spoke. Judges began dreaming of children knocking on their windows. Judge Lowe, under protection at this point, but haunted, would awake to symbols appearing on her walls drawn in frost. She recognized them from the archive furnace. She went back to the courthouse basement, but it was sealed, until Ava appeared that night out of nowhere and placed her hand on the lock. The door opened. Inside, the furnace was cold, but not dead. It hummed like a hive. Files glowed as though written in phosphorus. Names began to pulse, and on the wall, etched in fire, was a sigil. Pisces rising, Saturn enthroned, Neptune dissolving. The order had celestial sanction. Judge Lowe understood then. This wasn't corruption. It was a ritual governance, an occult bureaucracy dressed as social work. The adjudicators believed that by erasing recorded trauma, they rewrote karmic contracts and altered spiritual reality. Destroying proof was magic. Erasing testimony was sacrifice. Silencing parents was binding. But the astrology that once empowered them had shifted. These transgressions had awoken a sleeping cosmic adjuster, the eye of the cosmos. Even the government knew of this being's nature, so they took advantage of the opportunity to assist in the draining the swamp agenda. Pisces stellium, their camouflage, was collapsing. Chiron's wound was now open, and Sagittarius' fire was rising through Mars, Sun, and Venus. The sky itself wanted revelation. In that basement, Judge Lowe did something she never believed she could. She was able to recite the names aloud without being burned. Every vanished child Julian had taught her, the ones CPS declared unlocatable, the ones marked unsubstantiated. The furnace screamed. Files began to burst open. Caseworkers across town felt nausea and didn't know why. And outside, across Luzerne County, doors slammed. Alarms began ringing, and CPS employees fell to their knees, vomiting black liquid they didn't even know they were carrying. Ava stepped forward and touched the archive. Julian whispered one word: return. The furnace released light, searing, white, and holy. And across the county, missing children walked out of their closets, abandoned rooms, cult houses, safe houses, and tunnels, led by something no one could see, but every dog in the area could sense. The police claimed it was a trafficking ring collapsed, but those present knew. The occult ledger had been reversed. CPS workers involved woke the next day to their names burned into their ceilings. Every deal they'd made visible in handwriting that wasn't even their own. The order's protective sigils shattered. The unseen protection had been annihilated by an awakened deity whom walked among men. And in the courthouse plaza where Conrad Hale once strutted, this infamous lawyer with all this pull, there appeared a new carving overnight. The children write their own records now. No one confessed. No one needed to. Luzerne County learned that justice was no longer administered by courts, but by whatever force the stars awakened when the lies ran too deep and the comfort in their circle had hit its apex. We're going to do an invocation of the forgotten here, from the perspective of the echoes of the children who walked back through the veil. We who were unrecorded, we who were erased, we whose names were fed to fire, we rise. Across the inkless pages, across the locked case files, across the mouths that swore we never cried, we are the voice they buried. Archive, unseal. Ledger, open. Memory, stand. We call upon the scales, not the ones on courtroom walls, but the scales of the unseen that weigh not wealth, but truth. We summon the witness, the one inside every child who never forgot what adults rewrote. Let the hidden signatures smoke, let the sealed oaths unwind, let the pages they burned return as ash that spells their names. We do not curse, we do not bleed vengeance, we awaken remembrance. Those who sold us, see. Those who silenced us, hear. Those who turn their faces, stand before your own reflections. By the constellations misused, by Saturn bound, Neptune veiled, Pisces enthroned, we reverse the right. Chiron, we lift your wound. Sagittarius, strike the mark. Mercury, speak what was unspeakable. Let every parent thought mad be vindicated. Let every child thought lost be luminous. Let every truth denied be resurrected. We return not as property, but as witnesses. We are Julian. We are the unseen. We are the ledger rewritten. And in the name of every forgotten one, the archive shall open, the furnace shall cool, and justice shall wake wherein children's faces. No matter what corruption rises, there will always be one to stand, strong through trial and tribulation. Blackmail, coercion, death threats, abuse of power, dismantling of one's life, back-to-back attacks. Nothing will stop them in their tracks to recover that which was taken, whether it be money, a home, children, their freedom. Some people are protected by something far scarier than human interference and unfazed by the money, power, and corruption of the plenty. We forgive them, though, for they not know what they do. They not understand the actions they take, but they will grow from the consequences when Saturn does. And we will be coming to collect. And I'm going to end this with the invocation of the cold moon and the winter mothers. Under the breath of the cold, full moon, I call to the crone who remembers all endings. Ancient mother of silence and bone, keeper of the last fire in the dark, walk with me. Nyx, primordial nights, veil bearer, womb of the stars. From your black mantle I summon clarity. Wrap me in the unseen and reveal what is hidden. Winter, great stillness, teacher of endings, sculptor of truth. Strip away illusion, frost the lies. Crack the false foundation beneath your eyes. Hecate of the crossroads, queen of the thresholds and shadows, torch bearer, whose light the way when all else is gone. Guide my step through the unknown, guard me as I choose the path of power and purpose. And the wind, wandering spirit, messenger between worlds, carry my words, carry my will, whisper what must be known, scatter what must be released. By moon and night, by winter's edge, by the crone's knowing hand, by the queens of the crossroads who opens every gate. I stand in the hush between breath and storm, and I am heard. So it is spoken, so it moves, so it becomes. With my divine authority, let these words act as declarations of law that underlines law, and so it is.